Welcome to the Enchanted Ears podcast,
where we discuss anything and everything Disney.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Joe, and on today's episode, we are ranking our favorite Walt Disney World tours.
Yes, we are. I'm excited about
We've done
this.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so we're ranking our favorite ones.
Would love to do more.
Right. And then we're also going to talk about the ones we haven't done and like which ones we'd most like to do.
Right.
But before we get into that, let's cover the Disney news of the week. Now, we are pre-recording this because we are voyaging on our first Disney cruise on the Wish.
What?
So we will have a recap of that coming up in a few weeks here. But there was a piece of news a couple of weeks ago that came out that I wanted to kind of talk about because I thought it was interesting. So if some like major other piece of Disney news came up this past week, and you're like, why aren't they talking about it? That's why we'll talk about it next week.
Yes.
But Disney announced the Disney Movie Club service will be shutting down. Now, this isn't something I was like super familiar with, but the Disney Movie Club service was basically a movie subscription service that you could get, I think it was like 4 or 5 movies for like $1 or something like that. If you agree to pay for like 6 months, like buy like 5 movies full price, like over the next 6 months. So it was one of those things like, you know, like back in the 90s, I think they had this a lot where like you'd have your you'd have CD clubs and stuff where it was like, hey, you pay $10 a month and you can get like 2 CDs. So Disney had this with movies as well. And again, you know, if you bought 4 or 5 movies full price over 5 or 6 months or whatever, you could get 3 or 4 movies for like a couple dollars.
Huh.
So it was a way to kind of do that. A lot of people apparently really liked it because it had a lot of like older Disney movies, ones that were like harder to find that aren't even maybe on streaming at this point either. So it is shutting down now because I think people are moving more towards streaming. You know, Disney's not really doing this. But with this announcement, Disney also announced that they've reached an agreement with Sony, and Sony is going to take over all of the physical media distribution in the United States and Canada, I believe, for Disney. So Disney's no longer going to be producing their own DVDs and Blu-rays of movies. Sony's going to do that. So that also begs the question of, is Sony going to produce the back catalog? Like what, you know, it's probably going to be limited. They're not going to make every movie more. They're only going to sell the popular ones.
And also, if Disney made that agreement with Sony, it seems like Sony's getting something out of it. So what is Disney getting out of the deal?
Well, I think Disney's they don't have to produce the manufacturing of Blu-rays and DVDs.
Are they trying to build goodwill with Spider-Man though? Is what I always think of Spider-Man.
No, I mean, I think what it is, and I think this makes sense because people aren't really buying like physical movies anymore. I mean, I think Best Buy isn't even selling physical video games anymore. Like, I think they've just given up you can't go in and buy a video game. Like, it's all download. They're phasing this kind of stuff out. So like physical media is going away, and obviously Disney's trying to push streaming. So I think, you know, to them, having Sony do it, they get paid, you know, a royalty. It works out well kind of for Disney, and then, you know, Sony probably does this for all of their movies. But it's interesting, and I think, you know, what I've read and what a lot of people are worried about with the movie club service going away and Sony doing this is, again, those like older, harder to find movies that aren't on Disney Plus, that aren't streaming anywhere. With the movie club going away, it's going to be harder to get. And is Sony going to have any incentive to make a DVD or a Blu-ray of a movie that very few people want to buy? Like, sure, they're going to make the Marvel movies and the Star Wars movies because those are actually going to sell, but these older ones, they're probably not. So it's going to be difficult to find a lot of these like older properties.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see the concern there, just wanting to kind of preserve some of those older movies and have access to them. But I mean, it sounds like a win for Disney.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's good about this, though, is that they're still going to sell physical copies. Because like in Australia a few years ago, Disney announced they were just no longer selling physical copies of movies anymore. Like it's just not an option. And so I think, you know, there was some concern or risk that they could just do that in the US and Canada and everywhere. So I think it's good that, hey, at least Sony will be continuing with it. But obviously, yeah, with streaming, and, you know, the other concern with streaming is movies can just disappear from streaming. You know, we've seen this with HBO, with TV shows. All of a sudden, your TV show that you watch is canceled, and it's no longer available on Max and stuff. So, or, you know, stuff leaves Netflix or whatever. So, you know, a lot of people, like, if you really like a movie, having a physical copy of it's the only way to guarantee you'll always be able to watch it.
Yeah.
And
see,
so just
that freaks me out.
I've gotten rid of a lot of like movies, Blu-rays and stuff
Yeah.
in the past, and now I'm kind of like second guessing myself of like, maybe I shouldn't have done
yeah,
that.
that's like one of the few things I actually felt comfortable getting rid of.
Yeah, like when Disney Plus came out, I was like, oh, I can
Yeah.
get rid of these, but now it's like, maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Time will tell. And then again, hopefully no other like major news came because we don't know about it, but we'll talk about it next week if it did happen. So
we're gonna come back. I'm gonna have a beautiful golden tan.
all right, well, we'll see. You can tune in next week to find out.
I won't.
You can watch us on YouTube and Enchanted Ears podcast over on YouTube to see if Angela is tan next week. Watch this week and next week to find out. All right, so let's jump into our main topic this week, ranking the Walt Disney World tours.
Yes.
So we're ranking the ones we have done so far, and then we're going to talk about the other tours that are available at Walt Disney World that we've not had the chance to do, and kind of rank those on, out of these remaining, which ones do we most want to do?
Yeah.
Now, I kind of have my ranking, so I'll go in my order, and you can disagree with any order here.
Oh, I will.
But so far, what we've done is we've done the Behind the Scenes tour, we've done the Keys to the Kingdom tour, Wild Africa Trek, and the surfing lessons at Typhoon Lagoon. So those are the 4 tours that we've personally done at Walt Disney World.
4 tours and 7 years ago.
I think it's a little bit different than that, but we'll take it. So
we're having our moment with Mr. Lincoln right now.
we didn't get to do that at Disneyland. We missed that last time. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, and I love it.
Man,
I'm
cried.
upset I missed it. I know.
Me too.
I love it though. Now my ranking is kind of based on 2 criteria. I looked at value, because these are expensive tours, or a few $100s. Some of them, not all of them are, but most of them are $100, $200+ So, there is some level of like, are you getting value out of this? And then also just overall experience of just like enjoyment and what I thought of it. So the kind of taking those 2 together is how I'm getting kind of my criteria. So starting with the least tour, and this is probably where you're going to like disagree with me, but I had Wild Africa Trek as number 4. And for me, just to kind of give like people background of like, we'll try to go through all these tours. So it's a 3-hour tour. It costs between $219 and $229, like depending on the time of year you're going.
I mean, that's an interesting, like only a fluctuation of $10.
Yeah, most of these are about like $10, difference. It's basically behind the scenes of Kilimanjaro safaris. So you get to see a hippo feeding. You do the ropes bridge over the crocodile enclosure, which you can kind of see on the Kilimanjaro safaris, but you get to go over that. You have a private safari, so you get to go in one of the cars, and it's the same safari, but you're
I
in
think
your
you like
own...
come out from a different spot. I mean, you see that those cars can go other places and that
Right,
you come
but
out,
it's
but
not-
it's
it's not much
essentially the
different.
same thing. Yeah.
And then you get food. You get to go kind of in the back of the safari. There's like a pavilion back there. They do feed you lunch. A sample menu, according to Disney's website, includes garlic and leek hummus and pita, prosciutto and mozzarella, an olive mix, fresh fruit, chicken wrap, and marinated tandoori shrimp.
I don't remember the food being particularly great.
Yeah,
but it did come in a really cute like bento
We
box.
also got like an edible flower. I remember.
Yeah, there was
too.
like a little like purple violet.
Yeah, they don't mention that in here, so I don't remember what that
they're
flower
not
is.
gonna. Yeah, they're not gonna be like, and the delicious flowers.
Well, I mean, but they do talk about that a lot of like, hey, you're going to have an edible flower. Also included in this are all of your photos. They're taking photos of you the whole time, and you get all of those PhotoPass photos. For me, so kind of why I ranked it lowest here. So that's kind of what you get to do. Why I ranked it lowest is for me, it's too much of a copy of Kilimanjaro safaris. You're not seeing different animals. Half the thing is you just being in a safari car. You do get food. The ropes course is cool. It is cool to be like behind the scenes a little bit of it.
Yeah, you
but
get
you're
to
not
walk on like
super
some
behind
of
the
the some of the keeper paths. I remember like following them through those, and that was kind of cool. But I mean, I understand. I don't know if I fully agree.
Yeah, and just real quick, because the other thing too is basically it's $70 an hour. So that's the other thing. So you're paying $70 an hour to basically ride Kilimanjaro safaris. You're doing other stuff. You're getting
I was
food,
gonna say.
but really, is it worth $70 an
extra,
hour? For
yeah.
that? So that's why for me, it's the lowest rated of the tours we've done.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to argue with you on this, and there's a part of my heart that says that this is inaccurate, but I do think that every critique that you've come up with is fair. Like, I loved the hippo part. That was kind of cool, being on the tether and like getting to like watching them throw the lettuce heads to the hippos and stuff. I remember like doing the bridge over the crocodiles. That was fun, but I do remember like there was somebody with us on our tour that was like very, very afraid of doing it, and I was kind of like laughing because I'm like, dude, didn't you sign up for this? Like,
You may not know. I mean, you may not know really what's included, or
yeah.
I mean,
but also it's like, dude, this is Disney World. Do you think they're gonna let you fall in the crocodiles?
Yeah, well, I will say, because the bridge does have some like missing planks in it. I mean, it's made to be kind of rickety,
like feel like it's
feel a little
rickety.
unsafe. So when you're up there, I could see you kind of getting a little bit frightened. But
no, that person was freaking out before they even got on. Also, the other thing that I didn't love about this, I feel like, is when we were doing the little meal at the back of the safari, it wasn't like they did anything to like entice the animals to come closer. Like, they didn't feed them over by us or anything.
Yeah, that could be like luck of the draw too. Like, if you have a pack of animals come up near you, it's going to be a much better experience.
Yeah, that would just
than
be
if
cool,
nothing's
because I
near
don't
you.
feel like we had much to really observe there.
Yeah.
So I think that probably they could probably do that a little better, because it's like, how hard is it to like throw some mulberry branches or something there so that the giraffes were more likely to come around or something. So
yeah, I think the thing is they want to just let the animals
they want to
roam
let them
naturally
be.
and stuff
They
like
want to
that.
let them
So
be. I get
that's
it.
why they don't want to do that.
I get it, but what I'm saying,
you
here,
understand it, but like in your heart, you're like, I wish there was an animal there.
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
bringing an animal out or like something. It just it feels like, again, it's a lot of money for when a big chunk of it is rotting Kilimanjaro safaris and eating. And to your point, you may not really even be close to animals.
Right. So I mean, overall, I actually, even though I want to disagree with you on this, I think I have to agree with you.
Yeah, and again, my ranking, if I think about it too, it's like, what is the one I least want to do again versus...
Oh, I'd love to do this again, though.
Versus, but again, like, in order of like, hey, this is the one, like, my number one is I would do it again. And then it kind of just goes down from there. So this is my least likely one to do again. Not that I wouldn't, but like, I would rather do the other ones before I did this one again.
See, that cracks me up, because I would probably almost most want to do this one again, just because I want to see if it's changed any. This was one of the first ones we did.
This sounds
as well.
like, I mean, based on the description, it sounds like it's basically the same.
Exact same.
Yeah.
Well, I
it's
think
pretty
there are
unchanged.
other animal encounters that we're going to talk about that I think I would prefer to do instead of doing this one again.
Yeah, ones we haven't done. So,
but some of our higher ranking ones on this list, I really thoroughly enjoyed them, but I don't know that I would necessarily need to do them again, at least anytime soon. So,
again,
we
yeah,
differ in
it's
that
not
fact.
soon. Yeah, but for me, again, this is kind of where my ranking. So, so we agree, I guess, on that one is number 4. My number 3 is the Behind the Scenes tour. Now, this is the backstage tour at the Living with the Land. It is $39 to $45, which I was surprised by, because we did this a few years ago, and I swear it was like $20-$25.
Yeah,
so
I feel like it was pretty cheap.
Like 2 or 3 years,
we have a friend that's going to be doing, like, our friends are doing this,
Yeah.
and they're
like,
told us that
it's more expensive than that.
now.
But yeah, so it's basically $40 to $45. So it's doubled in like 2 years, which I think hurts it for me, because in terms of value, at $20, $25, it's an hour long. So for 1 hour at $20 or $25, it was like the best value you could get. It was like a no-brainer. It was like, do it every time you go. It's an hour of your day. It's not like it's taking up a big chunk of time. It's really fun to go behind the scenes at the greenhouses. You basically become part of Living with the Land. Like, I feel like I was part of the attraction, because you get to walk like where the food is, and you can wave to people on the boat. They're waving back at you. It's like, hey, they're part of the attraction now. I mean, it's like, as much as the scientists working in the lab are part of the attraction, I feel like I'm part of the attraction. So for $20-$25, no brainer. It like made perfect sense to do. But now that it's $40 or $45, that becomes a much more expensive proposition, because it's $45 now for 1 hour. You know, you're still getting 1 hour. And again, this one it's fun, but you're basically going to be doing the same thing every time. Again, for a cheaper price, I think it made sense, because it was a cool thing to do. But I don't know that I would pay $40 for this multiple times.
Right.
So
the thing I liked about this is I enjoyed, I think it was like the first portion of it when they talk about
Like all the insects
how
and stuff.
they
Yeah.
regulate pests with
Yeah.
other bugs. And I thought, like, specifically they talk about ladybugs. And first of all, if you have never, maybe you could throw this up on our YouTube, but if you have never seen the life stages of a ladybug, and particularly what they look like before they turn into that little round beetle, they look nothing alike like the bug that they end up being. Like you would probably be in your garden, and if you weren't aware of what they look like, be like, ew, that's a pest. I would kill it. You know, I mean, not that I would do that, but they're just
You
like
wouldn't think it was a
weird.
ladybug.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
wouldn't think it was a
yeah.
ladybug, but they're actually super helpful to your garden. So I thought that part of it was really interesting, and just like hearing some of the things that they do in order to sort of
Not use
regulate
chemicals and
control.
pesticides and stuff like that.
Right, like,
Yeah.
and it's stuff that you could definitely apply in your own garden. Like, I think that they have like buffer crops or something.
Buffer
Basically,
crops.
things
I mean, the whole sand, the fact that it's all covered in sand helps.
like
Like
with
insects.
the critters.
And it also helps with like keeping moisture and stuff in, because if you notice, like, you never actually see them watering the plants, because like all the water, all the irrigation's underground, and the sand helps keep it moist and helps trap that moisture in there. So yeah, so you learn a lot of really cool stuff
It's
like
very
that. Yeah.
intelligently designed, and you know, they tell you about like some of the hidden Mickeys, and I don't know, it was a really, really cool experience. One that I definitely think I would repeat it. Particularly since I feel like I've forgotten a lot of the facts.
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of cool stuff, but like you only remember probably 20% of it. So if you go back, you'll learn
Right.
another 20%.
Yeah, and it's been several years since we've done it,
Yeah.
so I would do it again because I feel like I could use that refresher. In my mind, one day I'm going to be a fantastic gardener. Like,
It's a retirement. It's a retirement
well,
thing.
yeah, like,
Just get into gardening.
listen, okay, so brief sidetrack. When we went to Australia, we went to our friend's farm, and her dad has an orchard on the farm. And since I went there, that is now my dream, like, to be able to have these, like, this beautiful orchard of all these fruit trees and be able to go get fresh apricots. Never had a fresh apricot in my life. Didn't even know I liked apricots, but they were so juicy. Like, the juice was running down my arms. It was so delicious. And that's all I want in life, is that my own version of living with the land, of like fruit orchards.
Well, now
And-
I'm in. Before I was like, I don't know, I want an orchard. But now that you told me it's in living with the land, 100%.
Well, I mean, like, you can apply a lot of that
No, I want to build
logic.
my own domed,
geodesic sphere.
own
I think we
domed
should-
greenhouse.
I mean, I think that would be super cool.
Yeah, that's what I want. So I'm in now. If we can have it in a greenhouse with like a little boat ride that I can just kind of float around in, I'm in.
Yeah, I want to
So-
know all about mini fruit trees too. So if you know anything about that, you know, this is your area of expertise, contact us.
All right, so moving on to at least my second favorite tour. So far, you've agreed with me so far. I'm kind of surprised, but moving on to my second favorite tour, and this is the surfing lessons at Typhoon Lagoon.
Yes.
Now, when we did this, it was lessons in that there were people, they were with, I think, Ron John Surf Shop.
Sounds right.
Which I don't know if they were from Daytona Beach. It's one of the beaches nearby. They do surfing lessons at the beach, but like they came here to Typhoon Lagoon. And so, you know, it was kind of loose lessons. It was nice that they had somebody in the water with you, helping you,
Yeah.
like get on your board and telling you, okay, pop up now, like telling you when to go to
Yeah.
kind of catch the wave. Based on the description, it doesn't sound like
They do
they're
that anymore?
there. Yeah, it doesn't sound like the lesson part's there. And so I don't know if because they were like a third party, maybe something happened, or, you know, Disney decided, hey, we don't need them. We're just doing the surfing. But the whole part where you can go and basically they just turn on the waves and just make constant waves, you know, every like 30 seconds a wave comes through. That is still happening. So you can go. Now the thing is, it sounds like have to at least have an idea of what you're doing in terms of surfing. And now maybe I could be wrong. Maybe they're still there and it's just not well written on the website. I don't know. But the whole experience is 3 hours total. And I would say, I don't know, we got maybe
Probably like
10 or
10,
12
15
waves. Yeah,
waves.
I think it
I mean, there
depends how
weren't a lot
many
of-
people there are.
Yeah, I think there were probably like 12,
Because they have two
or so
people
people.
go at the same
12
time.
to 15. But it takes time for you to like paddle out there,
Swim
to
back,
get
yeah.
the whole way there, like the
'Cause you
whole way
have to
to the
walk
end
all
of
the
the
way-
end,
yeah.
the wave pool,
Yeah, to walk
come
back.
back. So yeah, it takes some time.
But they're like perfect 6-foot waves. Like they're the same wave every time. They do it early in the morning. It starts at 6:45 in the morning if you do it in the morning, so before the park opens. Or they do have it in the evening as well, which starts 30 minutes after the park closes, and then it's 3 hours. So what it's called now is it's called like an open surf. So that's, again, I don't think it's necessarily lessons anymore. And this is $229 in the morning or $249 in the evening. For weekdays, $289 in the evening, Friday or Saturday evening.
It makes sense too that it's more expensive at night because it's probably warmer at night, so probably more people want to be.
It's probably more popular. Yeah, like who wants to get up at 6:45 in the morning? You know, and like you're gonna miss your Genie Plus reservations and all that sort of stuff if you're up that early. But you know, this one definitely is on like the more expensive end. It's cheaper if you do the, you know, the morning one. It's $229. You can save yourself a little bit of money. But for me, it's roughly the same price in the morning as the Wild African Trek, but you're getting 3 hours of surfing, which is something like you can't just do at a theme park. You know, like it's something different. It's something cool. We're not surfers, so I would never go out and try in like the open ocean. So like it's perfect.
I would.
but it's controlled. Yeah. It's like it's a fun thing to do. It's a more like safe environment to do this in.
You don't have to worry about anything coming from underneath you.
Right. You can see perfectly. Like it's a perfect wave. Like, you know, you're gonna have a good wave every time. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. And I think it was cool because what we did too is we stayed at Typhoon Lagoon, so we had tickets. Like, you have to have tickets to stay, but we stayed and we did like a water park day. So it's a cool thing to do. Like, either you do this in the morning or you do this in the evening, but like go to the water park for part of the day, either in the afternoon and then stay for the evening, or do the morning and stay. There's less crowds there. Like, it's a cool thing to do of just not a theme park day. Or if you don't want to do a theme park day, just like a just, you know, poolside day, it's a little bit more adventurous of like a pool relaxation day.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, like, I mean, if you're an avid surfer, you're somebody who's done this before, I do wonder if this is something that you wouldn't really have much interest in. But I do feel like,
it's probably good practice,
yeah,
though.
There's something to be said that you get like the same wave, and they're pretty decent waves every time. So maybe like somebody who is a person who likes to surf and they're not like a big wave surfer would appreciate that. But yeah, it is just really, really fun. It did make me feel like I would love to try doing it in the ocean, because I felt like at least I got a little bit of a base, and I know at least somewhat how to pop up. But I also
don't know.
recognized how difficult it is to surf, because those were supposed to be like the perfect easy waves.
Yeah.
And I think I stood on the board for all of 5 seconds.
Yeah, when we were in Australia last summer.
Yeah, we
saw people doing surf lessons in the ocean, and it did not look like it was going well, and it did not look like fun. Like it.
Oh, that looks like so much fun. There was that one guy that was killing it.
Yeah, it did not look like something I want to do. This is more my speed as opposed to open ocean. I will say the other really cool thing you can do. So if you are maybe a somewhat competent surfer or a good surfer and you like to surf, you can actually rent out the wave pool for a private surf party.
Or maybe you're a person who is so afraid of embarrassing yourself, you're just like, I'm going to rent it out.
Yeah, but this is awesome though. So you get 100 waves for 25 people. So you can get like a big group of people go out and do this. It's $1,200 for the morning, which I think is really reasonable across 25 people. It's like less than $60 a person. It's $1,300 in the evening during the weekdays, or $1,500 in the evening, Friday to Saturday. So yeah, it's like $48 to $60 a person, depending on when you go. You can buy additional waves for like a few $100s. You can also pay for additional guests up to 40 people, but it's not like that much more money to go up to 40 people. I think it's only like a few $100s more. So you could, like, for pretty reasonable, under $2,000, have 40 people for 3 hours to have like your own private party after hours at Typhoon Lagoon surfing, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a lot of people know about this. Not that I think a lot of people would do it, but I think this would be like really fun. Like if you had, like,
sounds like a fun Enchanted Ears meetup.
Yeah, but like if you had if you went to high school like in Orlando, imagine this is like a grad party. Like, hey, we're gonna have a grad party at Typhoon Lagoon, or even like a bachelorette party or like bachelor party. Like, hey, we're gonna go surfing. Wouldn't that be awesome? Because again, $1,200. Like, okay, let's say we're gonna do it in the evening on a weekend, $1,500, and you have, 25 people, and again, it's a grad party, it's a bachelorette party. that's not that much money for some like one-time thing like that, you know? Like that's really reasonable, I feel like, for Disney. Like, I imagine this thing would be like $5,000, you know, to do this. Like, it seems pretty reasonable to do that. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun.
We just need to find 23 other people.
Yeah, 23 of our closest friends.
There you go. All right, so this brings us to our favorite tour we've ever done at Walt Disney World, and that is the Keys to the Kingdom tour. Now, the Keys to the Kingdom tour is a 5-hour tour at the Magic Kingdom. It costs between $129 and $149. And I think this is what puts it over the top for me, at least, because this is the best value of all the tours. I could not believe it was this inexpensive. At 5 hours, even at the highest price point of basically $150, that's only $30 an hour, which is less per hour than all of these other tours, even the Behind the Scenes tour. Like that, again, we talked, that one used to be cheaper. Now it's more than that. I feel like it's so inexpensive. I kind of feel like somebody at Disney forgot to raise the price for this. Like, I feel like this meant this to be.
This is going to be more expensive soon.
Well, I think it's like they meant this to be $229 to $249, and somebody typed in a 1 instead of a 2. Like, it's such a good deal for me. It gives you the history of the Magic Kingdom. You get to ride a few attractions as part of this.
You get you have a plaid, so it almost feels like you're a VIP as well.
Yeah.
And the plaids,
you have their best tour guide. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so knowledgeable and so good at their jobs that, you know, again, you feel like a VIP, and you just get a lot of really excellent information about the park and about, you know, Main Street and
the whole history of it.
Yeah, that was like my favorite part, was like the part where she talks about, or like our tour guide talked about Main Street and the windows and the train station and just like all of that part, besides the, you know, going underground.
Yeah, so you get to go to the utilidors too, which I think, again, if you told somebody it's $150 and you get to go into the utilidors, I think most hardcore Disney fans would pay that and say, I don't even need to do anything else.
Yeah.
And the fact that you then get 4 additional hours of other stuff, plus you get lunch. I think it was at Pecos Bill's.
Which isn't the best.
Yeah,
food,
I mean, it was like a taco bar. And I can't remember, though, because the weird thing is, like, Pecos Bill's blends into, like, the Tortuga Tavern that's right there. And then there's, like, a intermediate, like, restaurant right there. So I don't know that we actually sat in Pecos Bill's, but I think that's like where the food was from, because it was like a Tex-Mex taco bar.
We had that little like room that was off in the back. So,
right. Yeah, we had like a little private room.
And we were blocked off with a big long
right.
table. Yeah.
But so you do get lunch. You do get to ride a couple attractions. You get the history. It's called Keys to the Kingdom because you learn about Disney's 5 keys, which is basically like their corporate philosophy for like how they run stuff. So you learn about like how safety like trumps everything versus show. Like it's an interesting tie. And so like you learn about all of their
and you learn about
keys as it ties into their history.
And you learn about I'm not going to give anything away because I think it's a fun tour. And if you haven't done it, like I don't want to tell you what you get to ride and stuff, but you learn about the rides prior to getting to go on them too, which is really fun because then you learn what to look for, so you get a different ride experience.
And your guide goes on with you and tells you stuff about the attraction while you're on it too.
Yeah.
Like you're right. Like they give you some history beforehand, but they also ride it with you and give you additional history as you're riding the stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool just to get that little extra magic.
Yeah, made for a different ride experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so do you agree with me then, that order, those 4? Because I think coming into it, you're like, I don't know that I agree with your order.
So it's really interesting because I disagreed on the last 2, and I still agree that Keys to the Kingdom is the number 1 for me. However, I do feel like for repeatability purposes, I would probably put surfing above that because I think that's just something that personally I would rather repeat. Whereas if you have like a 4 or 5 hour long, I don't want to call it a lecture because it's more interesting than
I will
a
say this
lecture.
though, the utilidors, it's different every time you go in.
It is.
That's the
we
thing.
didn't get to see anything.
That's
like,
the thing though. You never know
crazy.
what you're gonna see.
Yeah,
in
we
there.
didn't get to see anything too crazy in the utilidors, but it was. I mean, it was.
We
still,
were very early in the morning. I kind of would like to go like maybe afternoon, like around parade time or something.
Yeah.
Like once characters start coming out again, $150 at most.
Yeah,
that's
but
a deal.
it's a large chunk of your time.
Oh, it is.
And so I
it's a
feel
big
like
chunk of your day.
I mean, you do miss out on park time because of that, which is part of the other reason why I sort of knock it down just a little bit.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go on this if you have a short trip, because you're right, you're
Oh, yeah,
giving
for
up
sure
a
not.
chunk of your day, or if you're going when it's super crowded, because again, those 5 hours are very valuable, especially because a lot of this tour happens like early in the morning, and that's kind of when crowds are low, and so you are giving up like a big chunk of your time for that.
Right. So then you get released when crowds are high.
Right. Yeah. So I you're right. I kind of look for that. So all right. So that wraps up the tours we've been on. So there are additional tours that we've not taken. So just kind of run through these, and then I kind of have my top 3 out of these that I would like to take. And Angela, want to get your opinion on these too. So the additional tours that they have are called Dolphins in Depth. So this is at the Seas Pavilion at Epcot. $209. It's 2 hours total, 30 minutes in the water with dolphins. You're kind of in waist deep water with the actual dolphins. So you get to actually meet the dolphins, but it's only for 30 minutes. There is Dive Quest, which is $229 to $249. This is 2 hours in total with 40 minutes of scuba diving in the tank in the Seas Pavilion.
I do have one question for you.
Yes.
Are you for scuba?
Am I for scuba? So you have to be scuba certified to do this. I thought they used to have one where you could snorkel. Like if you weren't scuba certified, you could snorkel. I think maybe they replaced that with the dolphins one, because it seems to be like that's kind of the one. Like if you're not scuba certified, you can go.
So that's a shame.
And get the behind the scenes of the Seas Pavilion, but then you get to meet a dolphin.
Yeah, I would much rather snorkel in the giant tank than go see the dolphins.
Agreed. There is the Wilderness Backtrail Adventures at Fort Wilderness. This is $90 to $99. It is a Segway tour. It's a 2-hour circuit that includes stops at the stables at Circle Tri-D Ranch and Bay Lake.
This seems like a missed opportunity. You get to ride stuff at the Wilderness Ranch. Oh, it's not horses, though.
But see, I like that. I like that. I like Segway tours. There are 2 at Animal Kingdom. So there is Caring for Giants, which is $39. It's a 1-hour tour that teaches you about elephants.
Take my money.
You get to see the elephants. It says you're like 80 to 100 feet away from them, so you're not like super close to them, but you do get to see the elephants.
I feel like from AZA regulations, you
close.
can't get that close.
But
to
there
them.
is up close with rhinos. It is $49 for 1 hour. It does not say how close you are to the rhinos, but it's called up close with rhinos. So I wonder how close you are. Like I wonder, do you get to feed them? Like how close do you get to the rhinos? That one has me intrigued.
This is, I think, I'm just gonna come out with it. This is the one that I want to do next.
The rhino one?
Yeah, because I think I love elephants so much. I feel like humans have a fascination with elephants, and I just read this somewhere. I feel like I've seen this more than once, that elephants view humans like puppies, like cute puppies.
They view us as cute puppies?
Yeah, they're
that's
like
awesome.
Yeah, like I don't know. I read this on the internet, so again,
it's made up.
With a grain of salt.
Because you can believe everything you see on the internet.
No, but I feel like I've heard this before, so I'm like, okay, maybe this is just one of those dumb things.
If you've heard it twice, it has to be true. Has to be true. It was on the internet, and you heard it twice.
But there's a part of me that just wants to suspend like disbelief on this, because that is just adorable that they would think of us as like, oh look, you're cute, like you're this little tiny animal, and I'm just gonna like be nice to you. I don't know, rhinos. They look like elephants, but they have a giant horn on their face.
Yeah, I always thought rhinos were mean. And then, like, from riding the safaris and stuff a lot, I've learned, like, they're actually not. And watching, like, behind the scenes of, like, Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom, it doesn't seem like they're actually that mean.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
They're so cute. They look like, they're like elephant's unicorn cousin.
All right. So, the unicorn cousin, majestic unicorn.
Well, it's like how, I think that's where the rumors of, like, unicorns came from, is people saw rhinos and were like,
I thought you thought unicorns were real for a second.
I mean, okay. Right. I saw this on the internet too. All right, wait, hang on.
You saw that unicorns were real?
No. The other day, it was so funny because I was like, this makes so much sense. Somebody was like, okay, if somebody told you, hey, there's a horse that has a horn that exists, or there's a giant creature with a 30-foot long neck and spots and a black tongue that comes like way out of their mouth, which one would you believe is actually in existence?
The second one, because it's a giraffe.
But easy. I mean, which one seems more likely?
That one? The giraffe.
No,
for sure.
No. If you didn't know the giraffe existed, you'd be like, oh, of course, it's a horse with a horn.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Because horses aren't scary enough. We got to put horns on them.
They're not.
Oh, they're very scary. All right.
They don't need the horn. They can kick you.
We have exactly. That's what I'm saying. All right, we have two more here. Another one at Animal Kingdom is the Savor the Savannah tour. It's $189 to $199. It's a safari ride and food. It kind of sounds like
hopefully not simultaneously.
No, it kind of sounds like it is the Wild Africa Trek without the ropes course. Is really what this sounds like. It sounds like you do the private safari, you go back to kind of the pavilion, and you have something to eat.
Yeah.
And you just don't do the ropes course. So basically
the hippo part.
Right. So it kind of seems like that ropes course hippo part is worth like $30 to $40.
And that's probably the best part of the tour,
yeah, exactly.
I'd say.
Yeah. So I think that one's kind of like pay the $30 or $40 more and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then the last one's at Animal Kingdom Lodge. This is the Starlight Safari at Animal Kingdom Lodge. It is, I don't know why it costs this, but this is what it says on Disney's website. It is $75.65. I don't know why, to $89. I don't know why it's not $75, why it's not $76.
I wonder if there's a significance to the number.
Maybe. $75.65 to $89. It is a tour of their savannah. It takes place at night. I think it's like an hour. It's about an hour tour. They do one at like 8:30 and 10 around now. Just, I'm sure in the summer it's a little bit later. But they give you night vision goggles.
This is awesome.
To see the stuff. Yeah, so this one sounds pretty cool. So those are the remaining tours. So you already said you want to do Up Close with Rhinos.
So that's my number one.
That's your number one. Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Just because, yeah, I love them.
All right, what are your other ones?
And then I think my number two would be that Starlight Safari at the Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Okay.
I think that would be a lot of fun. Plus, you get night vision goggles. I mean, how many times in your life? How many times in your life somebody's like, "Here, have some night vision goggles"? Never.
And you're like looking at animals. It would feel like you're on like the actual like a savannah.
Yeah.
Like it would feel more realistic because you're just out there like. Where's the animals?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you see their eyes, and you're like, "Is that a lion?
Is
like,
that eye shine?
Yeah, what's coming for me?"
Yeah.
I know it's not a lion. They don't have lions there, but
yeah. So I think that would be really, really fun. And then I also, of course, the Caring for Giants, just because again, elephants.
So you're doing all animals.
Yeah.
Okay.
All animals all the time.
All right. So I agree with you on two of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Actually, I just sort of remembered something.
Okay.
I would really, really like to go in the tank, but I don't have the capabilities to go in the tank.
So let's say you're scuba certified.
If I was for scuba, then I think I would probably pick that over elephants just because I've had other encounters with elephants before. Okay. So this is something that would newer. And plus every time I looked at that tank, then I could just be like, hey, I've been in there.
Right. So I want to say Dive Quest as well. I'm not scuba certified either. And the other part is I don't like fish. I don't like them like anywhere near me. I don't want to like touch them because I think they're going to be slimy. So I am not a fish guy. So I feel like
you don't like the band.
Fish. In my mind, I feel like this sounds like fun. But I feel like if I was in there for 40 minutes, I would be like, oh my gosh, get these fish away from me. Why are they swimming so close to me?
I feel like they should add on an extra reptiles and amphibian section for you.
I think there's sharks in that tank. I wouldn't want them near me. Like when we go snorkeling and the fish like people, I'm like, get away from me, fish. Like I don't like.
Yeah, like
I don't like them near me.
If they're the fish that come up and they like kind of like I don't want to say give you kisses, but they like kind of like bite at you.
Yeah.
And Joe will freak out.
I'm in the water yelling at them like, oh, get away from me.
Like they don't even have teeth. They just kind of like suction you. And
so
you're just like,
in my mind, this sounds like fun. Like I would scuba dive in there if there was no fish. Like if I could go in the tank and just scuba dive and there was no
fish. That really
fish.
defeats the purpose.
No, like I could just like swim through the coral, like put like a little shipwreck in there or something. Like that would be fun to me. I feel like 40 minutes in there, I would start freaking out. There's too many fish near me. I need to get out of here. So I want to say Dive Quest, but I'm not going to say Dive Quest.
I do feel like you sell yourself a little bit short because we've been in like the ocean and swam with fish.
Yeah, I do it. Yeah, but again, after like 20 minutes or so, I'm like, okay, too many fish near me. I need to leave. Especially in the ocean. I'm like, what else is in this water?
I mean, we were literally in there with sharks and you were okay.
I've watched the Meg. I know what's in the ocean. I don't want a megalodon coming to eat me.
They don't want you.
All right. The megalodon, he eats people. I've seen the Meg. Unless Jason Statham's around, I'm not getting in the water. All right. So my top three, because again, I'm not saying Dive Quest. My top three, though, are the Wilderness Back Trail Adventures at Fort Wilderness, because hello, Segway tour. When I saw that you can do a Segway tour at Disney, I'm like, I need to do this immediately.
This would be fun.
I don't care if you come or not. I'm riding Segways.
I'm just saying it would be fun. I'm not saying I want to come with you.
Next time we're there for more than like a couple days. Because we're going down for a springtime surprise, but like we're only going down for a couple days. We're not going to have enough time. I want to do a Segway tour. It's not that expensive either. It's $100 to do a Segway tour. So that's my number one. Then I'm with you. I agree with you on Starlight Safari, because night vision goggles, 100%. I'm hooked. I'm in for that. And then probably rhinos. Because out of the other ones, like I don't necessarily care to see elephants. Like I said, they don't care to see you either. They don't think you're a very cute puppy. Thank you. The Savor the Savannah, again, that it just seems like it's the not fun parts.
Yeah.
And then again with dolphins, we've swam with dolphins before. I don't know that I need to do that again.
Yeah, again, and it does get you into that weird territory too of like, is it ethical to have dolphins even?
Again, I feel like in my mind, Dive Quest seems like a fun one to do because you get to like learn behind the scenes of the seas, that sort of stuff. Maybe one day I'll get scuba certified and I'll like, I don't know, get the courage to go in with the fish for 40 minutes.
I do think that would be a nice thing for us to do, is to get. We actually talked about this for a while.
Well, we talked about so that we could swim in the aquarium in Disney. Like, that's why I've talked about. Yeah, of like, hey, I would do it to be able to go and say I swam in that aquarium in Disney.
I feel like there was something else that we were doing that we wanted to potentially get certified for as well.
But we'd love to hear what our listeners, like, what tours have you done? Mm-hmm. What tours do you want to do?
What would you recommend?
Yeah, let us know on our Instagram at Enchanted Ears Podcast, or if you're watching this on Instagram, let us know in the comments which tour you would most like to do. But that wraps up our show this week. Want to thank everybody again for listening. If you've not done so, please leave us a rating or a review. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. It really helps, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks for lending us your ears.
Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you here next Monday.
Bye-bye.